Brownie, if you were told on a Wednesday session you'd be wearing a yellow jumper, what would you interpret that as?
Well, I wore a yellow. Does that mean I'm in trouble, or?
I'm asking you, if you had to put on a yellow one at today's session, what does that mean?
No, it means we have good depth going around at the club at the moment. Obviously, both teams are really strong. The Sandford's performing really well at the moment, and the AFL squad have had a poor couple of weeks. So yeah, there's a lot of strong competition at the moment. I'm sure they're just looking at a few different looks to see what it looks like for the weekend, but it doesn't really mean anything set. Match committee hasn't been chosen yet, so yeah, I'd be pretty worried if I was wearing yellow today and that means I was dropped.
You changed, didn't you?
Late, yeah, but I was in yellow for a bit.
Majority was blue though. But like say Riley O'Brien's in the yellow, he probably hasn't had admittedly his best couple of weeks. What have you seen from Riley, and do you think Strawny deserves a chance?
Yeah, obviously it's back to the whole team. Riley's performances the last couple of weeks probably aren't up to the standard that he wants to be. He's a past B&F winner, so he's really proud and he wants to get back to that level. Strawny's performing really well in the sample like a lot of the other blokes are, so the competition is really strong at the moment. They're both really upbeat, they're both positive, they can play some good footy for us. But yeah, that's what you got to love about footy clubs. The competition for spots has to be there. Otherwise you can have poor performance each week and still get picked. So the pressure's definitely on. Doesn't mean we're going either way at the moment. That would be left up to the match committee today. But I think it's a really positive sign for us.
What are Strawny's strengths as opposed to what perhaps Riley does?
I think they are pretty similar players. They're both really good in the air. Obviously, when Rob's at his best, he's dominating the air for us, and Strawny's been able to do that in the Sandford this year so far. And he can kick goals as well. He can go forward and take a good couple of clunks. So his aerial presence is going to be really strong either way, as all our ruckmen.
How did the review look coming out of the weekend?
Yeah, it's disappointing that we let ourselves down, particularly in that third quarter. We showed glimpses in the first, second and fourth that we're capable, but that third quarter just wasn't acceptable, and I think it came back off the week before as well. So we've had a couple of bad weeks, whereas the first 6 rounds we performed really strongly. We were 3-3, and there was a couple of close games there we could have won. So we're confident we can get back to that. It's just about sticking to our structures and playing our role at the moment.
Is that what it's about, or what is it about? Why have you had to slip in those passages where you had those stages?
Yeah, it can come down to guys trying to do a bit too much on the footy field. Whereas if you simplify and just play your role, it sort of gels in together and makes life a lot easier for everyone else. So, yeah, if you try to do too much, work too hard, sometimes it can be to detriment of the team.
Can you, again looking at the yellow jumpers, could you maybe afford to go in a little bit shorter down the back this week, given Brisbane's documented issues with their key forwards up forward?
Yeah, well, they could bring in another tool, you never know. I'm not too sure. It's an interesting one. Obviously, I'm not going to call it as it is, and we have a lot of strong depth down there. Bill performed really well a couple of weeks ago against the Bulldogs, and that's the aerial presence we love him to have. Murray is performing really strongly in the Sandford and putting a lot of pressure on big keys up, down, back. So whether we're going with another couple of keys or one or two, I'm not too sure. I'll leave that up to match committee, and I'm not sure what Brisbane will do at this stage. They might come in tall.
Brownie, each year when Brisbane rolls around, you beat Charlie. Do you get a little sleepless week heading into facing off on your old teammate?
It's a fun matchup. Obviously, he's so talented, and you can't really give him much space, and he can be a bit chirpy out there. I know Smithers and even butted heads on the ground a few times, and then at the end of the game, they're best mates again. So it's obviously something I look forward to. It's going to be a good matchup, and their whole forward line, I guess the whole team in general, is really solid. They don't show many weaknesses, and it's going to be a big challenge for us, especially after the last couple of weeks. We're looking forward to it.
What are some of the keys to stopping Charlie? I mean, if he gets out in space, he's as good as gone, and he revs his motorbike. What are some of the things that you try and do to stop him?
Yeah, the body work's a big key with him, and I have to rely on help from teammates up the field, because if I'm left in space, it's going to be pretty hard to catch him. He's one of the quickest blokes in the comp. So he comes down to that body work early, try and bash him around a bit. But yeah, the pressure up the field is going to make it a lot easier for me, especially. Last week,
Paddy Cripps got a hold of you guys. Do you think now, looking at Brisbane with Lachie Neale potentially to employ a few more, not so much a tag, but just a bit of a stronger defensive presence to quell his influence?
It's something to look at. He's a talented player. He's a Brownlow medalist for a reason. He's having another great year, so it's something they'll be looking at for sure. Whether they go down that road, I'm not too sure at this stage. But we've got to back our mids in at the same time.
Can you go too far the other way? I was just on that. Can you go too far the other way? I mean, Cripps probably had a hard tag, and sometimes he had two guys on that stoppage and had 35 and 2, and probably 2 or 3 with Brownlow votes. So can you put too much attention into the defensive side of the game, and then that stops you going forward?
As a whole midfield, or yeah, you can. You definitely can. You can be too concentrated on one player, and it could break you apart. So, yeah, to say we would only look at Lockie Neal and not the rest of the Brisbane's midfield, which are really talented as well, would be the wrong thing to do, and it could open us up. So we have to have real balance around there, and yeah, like you said, you can't really focus too much on one player.
And in those last couple of weeks, I know you rely on sort of some work up the field to give you guys a chop out, but you must have felt like 15 footies bouncing around the back line in recent weeks. What is the defensive group able to do, or what do you say to the midfield to sort of help them out, or they help you out, because otherwise you're just under siege consistently?
Yeah, it is like that. We're trying to stay connected as a whole team rather than just like our back six trying to focus on each other. So, as you said, the upfield pressure definitely helps us and makes our job a lot easier. I think we executed really well against the Bulldogs. I know that's a few weeks ago now, but that showed what we're capable of down back if we get the pressure on. But then there's going to be times as well where we have to get it done one-on-one, and I think we let ourselves down in that area on the weekend as a back group. But yeah, we just have to keep encouraging each other and keep calling each other out as well when the opportunities are there.
Your own form, good on the weekend, but I mean you rarely beat him one-on-one, but maybe Toby the week before just got the better of you.
Yeah, he had a couple of good moments. Yeah, this year's been pretty consistent. Obviously, I'm a more experienced guy in our backline now, so I'm trying to control a few more things, trying to get the communication right and our setups right. So it can be a bit more challenging, but yeah, I still get the enjoyment of playing on the best forwards, and I got another one this week who can energise his team really quickly if given the chance. So yeah, form's been pretty consistent so far. Probably one poor performance. But yeah, you're going to have those in your career. If you dwell on it too much, it's just going to carry on. So yeah, I moved on from that pretty quick, learned some things, but yeah, look forward to the new challenge.
As a senior guy back there, do you sort of have a right to give the midfield a break at half-time or three-quarter time if the footy's just relentlessly coming back?
Well, you should be able to. I don't think it's reliant on me. It shouldn't be reliant on me. But yeah, in terms of bake, like you don't want to bake your teammates. You want to encourage and be instructive rather than just yelling at them for the sake of it. Yeah, because you don't know what could be happening in there that they might have the answers to as well. So yes, we're trying to get that connection a lot better between our inexperienced players. But yes, my job as an experienced player to try and train them up as quick as possible.
Randy, what do you think of a player called Jason Warren-Francis? Would he fit into this side if he wanted to come home?
Well, yeah, he's a talented player, but it's his first year. It's like he's played 9 games. This is his 9th game coming up. So, like, yeah, I can't comment too much on it. He's a talented player, and that's up to North to discuss. It's not my area.
How's your Achilles of last year?
Yep.
Yeah, how's it all going all sweet?
Yeah, so far so good. Yeah, unfortunately, last year was really interrupted with it. We called it early to get it sorted out for this year, which has paid dividends at the moment. I was able to get a good pre-season in, and it has its days where it's a bit sore, but like on game day, I've had no issues so far. Training, no issues. So yeah, I'm really happy with it.
When's the soreness? Like, we just general post?
It could be just the old man soreness, getting out of bed. it's getting out of bed the first 5 minutes walking around, but other than that, it's pretty good during the day.
So it's not a managed thing like last year. I mean, you managed it for a little bit. You had a week on, week off from memory until.
Yeah, no, that's done. It was pretty sore through those stages, and I was just trying to help the team out as much as I could by playing, but in the end it was just getting too sore, and I was being a detriment to the team on the field. So we made the decision to call it just to prepare for this year.
And what's your take on Chase? He's moved back. Looks like he's going okay when sort of the players ahead of him, and he can sort of burst out of the back line and use his ball skills. How have you seen his development, and what sort of role did he play in that?
Yeah, like you said, his offensive ability is really encouraging, and it's something we really like down back. The way he can break the lines open and we are trying to get him to do more of that. His physicality is an asset when he's using it. When he crashes the packs and actually breaks tackles, it's really powerful for us. So for me, and I'm sure Burnsy's talking to him as well, about continuing to do that, continuing to take it on as much as possible. But on the flip side, yeah, when we're defending, just be as physical as possible because we know he's capable of it.
3-3 last year, seen anybody and it fell away. What gives you confidence that it's not going to be the same again this year after just had?
Well, besides the fact that we're a year more experienced, the guys are still really positive. Last year, like we were talking about just before, I was in and out, so it was more inconsistent for me, and we had a few more injuries. So I think the ability of our sample team performing really well is putting pressure on, so that when they come in, if they do come in, we know that they're capable of performing at the level. So the depth has been a massive improvement, and our sample team's bringing that at the moment. Whether we want to bring that for next week, it's going to be up to us. We can't rely on the coaches each week just to grill us on mistakes. We have to start learning. And I think we have. I think we've shown on the track especially that we're capable of learning really quickly.